everyone. This is Brandy,
And this is Angelina.
and welcome to another episode of Talk 40 to Me.
Whoop whoop, welcome back.
And it's American Heart Month. So,
Oh, yay.
so we couldn't go through February without talking about American Heart Month and caring for your heart.
Yes.
So
If you're feeling the
today,
love, you need to love your heart too.
love your heart. That was I feel like that was an American Heart Association tagline at one point
Was it? Oh, I
for Go
could have
Red for
worked.
Women.
Could have worked there.
Um, So today's episode is a very special one since we are in the midst of American Heart Month. This is an episode that does not matter to your gender or life stage. So even though we are called Talk 40 to Me and a lot of our topics are relevant for us, those of us who are in our 40s, this one is really for anyone. And we would love it if you guys could definitely share this episode because I think that it's going to be an incredibly powerful one. So if you are a parent or guardian of young ones, an aunt or uncle, or have friends with kids, teens, or young adults, we definitely encourage you all to listen to today's episode. So I first met today's guest over 10 years ago, and her story made a lasting impression on me. To this day, when I hear it, I still get chills and goosebumps and hold back tears. And I'm sure that this will be incredibly touching for you guys as well. So Karen Schrah is our guest for today, and she is the president and founder of an organization called Living for Zachary. And while I would love to share more details and an amazing intro about Karen, I would really like to give her the honor of telling her story because no one can share it like she can. So, with that said, Karen, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Talk 40 to Me.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited to be here. February is a very important month with Heart Month happening. It's also my son's birthday is in February, on February 10th. I'm a mom of two kids, and I experienced the worst thing that you could imagine as a mom, and that's the loss of a child. And my son, Zachary, was at football practice on April 2nd of 2009. And I was there to pick him up from football practice and was approached by his teammates and said, they said, Karen, something happened to Zachary, and, he's in the field house, and, go around there and see what's going on. And so I drove around to the back of the school where the field house was, where it's just everyday football practice, right? And you guys know in Texas how important sports are, and all that we do and celebrate sporting events and all that school spirit that we have. And got out of my car and was walking up to the field house and was immediately approached by the school campus officer, and he stopped me and wouldn't let me go into the field house. And it was immediately at that point that you realize that something more is going on than your kid broke his leg or broke his arm. And the ambulance had pulled up, and all of those things that were happening. And uh, you just don't understand in the moment. You just see kind of out of body experience of seeing so many people running around and comforting me, and wanting to take me to the hospital, following the ambulance, and finally understanding and realizing that Zach had collapsed while running a drill during the end of football practice. And not even understanding the magnitude of what that was. I mean, he was a 6'2", 225-pound kid, big kid, as a 16-year-old playing football, and had played sports, his entire life, with baseball and football and, all of those things that we do as moms, and spend our weekends for years, going back and forth to different stadiums and, all of that. And just, he loved the outdoors, played all the time outside, and just never could imagine that he could collapse and them telling me there's something wrong with his heart and just not even understanding it. And so while we were at the hospital, they continued to work on him, and, school administrators started showing up, his coaches showed up, over 100 kids and their parents started showing up at the hospital. And, to be told that it was a very critical time, and, coming together and praying and, bringing everyone together and holding hands and talking, and just still not imagining that my son, this beautiful, healthy boy, wouldn't make it. And, a couple of hours later, he did pass away. And I was surrounded by, my daughter, of course, my parents, my sisters, Zach's dad was there, and then to be surrounded by, our friends and family, that were all there with us in the waiting room, and just the total unimaginable scene of the devastation of everybody. And, I very much am a woman of faith, and, sat with Zachary while, waiting for him to be, his body to be picked up, that you, crying out and asking for guidance and understanding, and, realizing in that moment that there had to be some good that would come from this, not knowing the full vision, but being comforted by there is something that will come of his death. And realizing just 3 months later, and, people coming around me, that his life would then turn into a nonprofit called Living for Zachary, so I could share my story of preventing sudden cardiac arrest in youth. And that, at that moment, it was, I just want to share my story, and I want to raise awareness of, this silent killer, that, he didn't complain of chest pain. There wasn't anything there that he ever shared with me that would make me aware that he had hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is an enlarged heart that would cause his death at such a young age. And so quickly after we started Living for Zachary to raise awareness, we had reached out to a local hospital. We wanted to do an awareness event, and do a walk, and, bring the kids together, and, just celebrate his life, and then also be able to share what is sudden cardiac arrest, how is it different than a heart attack, and all of those things that come into play with what can I do to just make a difference and bring awareness so other parents do not have to suffer the same horrible pain that we did, or, these kids, friends of Zach's, that didn't know what to do during that time, and it gave them purpose, to help come alongside me to start Living for Zachary and be part of Zach's team that would work at, different events to raise awareness, or hand out flyers or wristbands, that whatever we could do to say sudden cardiac arrest is real. It is the number one killer of student athletes, that there was a story, right? And so, as I mentioned, during that time, we had reached out to a local hospital, to support us, from just a sponsorship basis, to help us pay for the run that we wanted to do, or the walk that we wanted to do. And quickly, within 30 seconds, they absolutely said yes. And they realized that there had to be more that they could do as well. So just a couple of months after that, so 5 months after Zachary had passed away, we started the Living for Zachary heart screening program. And then we also decided to start donating automated external defibrillators into our community, to raise awareness of how important it is to use an AED. And so that's basically what I did. I was working, I was a single mom, and so Living for Zachary was born from this. And it was something that I was doing out of my home and out of my garage, and with several of Zach's friends' parents that wanted to rally around me and help me start a nonprofit. And so since 2009, Living for Zachary has made an impact with this mission across the country and across Texas. And, I couldn't be more proud. In addition to that, my daughter, Zachary, and his sister were both born in February. So again, it goes back to Heart Month and how important Heart Month is to our family for many reasons, right? And she took this tragedy as well and decided to become a nurse. And she is working at the hospital that helped us start Living for Zachary and start the heart screening program. And she's been affected, every day for the last 3 years of being around heart patients. I mean, she herself has used an AED to save a life, and, all that she's doing, too, in her way, to help others, from the tragedy that she had, for her as well. I think one of the hardest things as a mom and having a daughter, that we experience this loss is I only knew my pain as a mom. I didn't know her pain as a daughter. So we had our ups and downs of I'm having a good day, but maybe she wasn't. And, with the recent event with the Buffalo Bills player, DeMar, it hit our family, pretty hard to see that. But the outpouring from our community, fellow co-workers of reaching out to both of us during that time really comforted us to see our mission and the awareness of AEDs and how important CPR training is. Just, the world was watching, right? And now everyone is more in tune to knowing CPR, the AEDs. And so in events like that, I feel very blessed that our organization is helping with all of that as well, and especially focused on our youth.
Karen, we cannot thank you enough. This has just been a very insightful, moving conversation. And it just, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for sharing your story. And we want to let everyone know, if you want to learn more about Living for Zachary, how to get involved, their screenings, you can visit Living for Zachary, ZACHARY.org. And then it's the same on Instagram, correct, Karen?
Yes,
At
it is.
Living for Zachary.
And
remember, Happy Heart Month. Get your screenings, wear your red.
Love your heart.
Look for those AEDs.
Look for the AEDs. All right.
Happy Heart Month, everybody.
Happy Heart Month.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.